Welcome to episode 7 of the Migtown podcast. As always, I'm producer Tim, and with me is Drexie Pie.
Yeah, that's the name formerly known as man, formerly known as Mr. Y, formerly known as. Yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys. It's been a tiring week with all that travel and the kids and everything, and eating that Domino's that just caused my stomach to go into a funk. I just, you eat something that's like, oh, you just kind of
Yeah,
curl. You're kind of just like done. Like, oh, dude, I just feel
yeah, you
bad.
just want to die.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, God.
Oh, no, 50,000 subscribers is what it'll take for a 24-hour stream. But we just passed 4,000 not
Yeah.
too long ago, so we're going the correct direction. The Yeet Apocalypse on YouTube hasn't seemed to have hit our numbers that much.
Yeah. It's not gonna hit a smaller people until once you're big enough for them to recognize you, and you say something they don't like, then they'll go after you. But until that point,
No, we've passed 1 million minutes viewed of our content. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it's a pretty decent metric, if
that's
I do
pretty
say so
crazy, man.
myself. Yeah, 1 million minutes have been wasted on our content.
AKA well spent, well spent.
Well spent, yes. Of course. That's what I really meant to say.
Of course, of course.
I'm not going to spend too long on the show analytics because I always look at them and people always get pissed off. They're like, I want Drexel content. So, without further ado, what are we going to talk about first today? It's not like anything important happened in the world, right?
Yeah, well, so this is a weird show because there's so many things I would normally talk about, and Nick and I talked about this when we were on his show, which is like, yeah, a lot of things happening that you don't really want to say anything about because of reasons, right? So I was like, you know what, it's good to just kind of like mix it up with like, if because everyone's talking about a lot of that stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, kind of mix it up and just talk about some random things that are kind of happening. And of course, I'll give you guys an update on the trip from Colombia, which I'll be going on tomorrow morning. So I'll do that trip, and then so when I get back, I'll give you guys kind of like a full summary. I'll probably end up if they have internet that's gonna uphold, I'll send like pictures, maybe some short clips of just videos, just kind of little panoramic view of how it looks for anyone who's never been there or wants to go there. Be an interesting place to kind of hang out and see, and the food. I'm a big food guy, so I like. Are you one of those guys, Tim, that likes to take pictures of the food they eat? So like, like if
Nope.
you have someone back home, like I'm that dude. Like I'll take pictures of the food and be like, "Yo, we had this at this place."
I would go to Japan and order an American cheeseburger
Couldn't do it.
and
Couldn't
French
do it.
fries.
Couldn't
Like,
do it.
and I just pass up all of their, because I know Japanese food is exquisite and interesting, but I know what I like and I just eat that.
Mm, I don't know, man. If here's the thing, if I'm gonna be in Japan, I'm gonna say like, hey, I want some ramen, I want some this, I want some that. Like, I'll still keep like the basic tenets, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
always gonna stick with some chicken, so, rice, chicken, your noodles. There's a million different noodles, right? You got udon, you got lo mein. There's so many different types of noodles. So,
You're a lot
you
more
know,
cultured than I am, my friend. Why don't we go to Beijing next summer and go eat a bat?
yeah. The wisest decision that anybody can make. Well,
Yeah.
one of the things that I think that's crazy is, Nick and I were talking about this a little bit on his show, was like, there's a lot of people who are, kind of very anxious and scared, and, they're going through a lot of emotions right now, right? With everything that's kind of happening in the world, there's a lot of craziness. And I just thought like, what are the, survival tactics moving forward, right? I think the biggest thing is like staying positive with your hobbies. This is something that Nick and I talk about quite often, which is like hobbies do have an importance. And not only that, but like for everyone out there, you guys got to understand, anything and everything in your life, if you distill it down, you view yourself as a business, is either a asset or they are a liability, right? So if you want to say, well, you know what, I feel so lonely, so I'm going to have, let's say, I'm going to go buy a couple of dogs and a couple of cats. Well, if you're a single guy and you're a bachelor and maybe your job isn't so secure, that's not the wisest move, because, of course, those animals take away money out of your pocket every month, every day. not put it in, so that I would consider that a liability. Now, some other people may say it's an asset because of the emotional gratification they get, but it's like it's different for everybody. But like going forward, Tim, I think you're going to see a lot of people really kind of practicing a lot of austerity, right? You know,
Yeah.
people, like a lot of like the frivolous spending. I think you're going to see that shit end. Honestly,
I don't think so because the
really
people who lead the charge in frivolous spending are the poorest of society, right? The
true.
most materialistic of people, and
Yep.
the government will never run out of money to just give to the poor people.
Well, but I don't think people are getting that 2 grand.
It doesn't matter. They got the 600 and they're still going to go buy cheap Chinese plastic shit.
uh, isn't
You
that
know they are.
pitiful?
You know I'm right, right? They all went out and bought PS5s with it.
The government gave you 600. You spent 400 in tax on a PS5, and then you got the controller and the PSN subscription for the year, right? And you're like, damn, where'd all my money go?
Oh,
No
and
money to buy food.
you also get Call of Duty as well.
Right. Nothing really changes though. I've seen that mentality play out right in front of me, and I'm like, really? You always kind of have that moment where you think to yourself, you're going to adapt, you're going to grow up, you're going to, kind of alter your viewpoint on, fiscal responsibility. Nope.
Look, people are poor for a reason.
Yeah, I know, because it's a mentality. Like, I've always said this. I've always believed that you should only reward winners. And the reason for that is that everyone would then want to become a winner. If losers weren't rewarded at all, nobody would ever want to be a loser. They're like, hey, man, losing is bad. I want to be a winner. Like, and Tim, you were talking about some sports stuff earlier. And one of the things I strongly believe in is the reverse draft. I believed in that ever since, I would say probably a decade ago. I still feel that the reverse draft is the fix to pro sports.
You can't fix pro sports. There's only one pro sport that isn't completely cucked by the social justice movement, and it's NHL. It's hockey.
Yeah.
The sport where they still allow you to get into a fist fight in the middle of the game. You go sit for 5 minutes, and then you get to come back and play.
Well, I will say this: UFC hasn't gotten cucked, but I know what you're saying. Like yeah, for the major sports, yeah. But here's the thing, though: demographics matters, right? And optics matters. So, like, how many? Okay, currently, the whole BLM thing is what is most prevalent in a lot of the major sports leagues. But what is the total amount of black athletes in the NHL? Right? Are there even 10? Are there 10 black dudes in hockey in pro hockey? 20?
Let's see if I can name them all. PK Subban's still in. I think, yeah, Donald Brashear retired. There is Akeem Alim, who plays for Carolina. Dustin Bufflin is semi-retired, and I think he's like Samoan. Oh boy, I don't know if that's correct. I'll have to double check that one. There is Matt Dumba is like half black. That's the guy defenseman who plays for Minnesota, who threw his took the knee in the first playoff game. Promptly got his team eliminated out of the playoffs, and then no one else took a knee in because now they think
Of course.
Hockey players have the superstition in hockey players is extremely high, and for goalies it's doubly high. I used to play goalie when I played hockey. We are some superstitious motherfuckers. Have you ever had a sports superstition? Like you played some ball when you were in college,
I
right?
played ball. Like, I was never that dude though. So like, I'm fully aware of a lot of these guys who have these superstitions. Like I got to wear these socks, or I got to do X, Y, and Z, or this ritual before or after a game. Here's the thing. Here's what I learned about the whole nature of superstitions. I always thought that they were kind of silly, only for this reason. If both sides are doing it, and sports is a zero sum game, so someone has to win, someone has to lose. In that regard, it didn't really make sense for me to like wear the same socks the same way every game. It's like, because think about it. If you see any player, doesn't matter who they are, if you look at the course of their career, even the best of the best, they're gonna have good games, they're gonna have bad games, right? So superstitions didn't really matter then, right? Like you're either gonna play well or you're not gonna play well. Sometimes it's within your hands, sometimes it's not. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I fully understand why guys are so superstitious. Like I've seen dudes who are very like, oh yeah, I have to have this, and this is my good luck charm. Where I'm thinking like, if that's what makes you get into your zone, then so be it.
Yeah, because you're not trying to win the game for your team with your superstition. You're just trying to not fuck up.
Correct.
You personally don't want to be the one that fucks up and costs your team the game. Like Ben Roethlisberger, who just threw 3 interceptions in the first quarter.
Oh wait, the Steelers played tonight.
Yeah, the Steelers played the Browns, and the Browns beat them in the wild card. So the Steelers have been
Oh,
eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah, they choked so
ooh.
hard.
And they were, I gotta talk to Mama Vic about that because they were what they started the season. Well, I want to say 11 was 11-0, 11-0 with
Yeah,
the Steelers.
something like that. They were undefeated pretty far into the season. Then they had a 4-game losing streak, I think, and then they won the last game. But yeah, the Browns came out.
Wow.
Big Ben threw 3 picks in the first quarter. Cleveland jumped out to a 28-0 lead. The other touchdown they got was a fumbled snap in the end zone that the Browns recovered for a touchdown. That was the very first play of
So
the game.
that was the first time the Browns have won a playoff game since
Since dear
fuck.
God, it's 21 years or something.
Yeah, has it been that short? Because I
Might be
don't
longer
remember
then.
it.
Maybe 26, 27.
Oh fuck.
It's been a long time, yes.
Yeah,
So
it's been long when you don't remember, right? Like when you try, like first of
exactly.
all, the Browns in the playoffs lets you're like, damn, when the hell, when was the last time I saw? So then you have to go, when was the last time they actually remember them winning? Though you're like, oh man,
All I
damn.
know is that someone who bet a lot of money on the Cleveland Browns just made a lot of money off the bookies. Because, okay,
What was the final score? I didn't check out
it
any
was
of
like
that.
48 to 20, 30? 28 to 40, I think.
Damn.
Yeah, it was quite an intense game. And then it looked like Pittsburgh was going to come back, and then Cleveland just kept scoring again and again. So I was like, oh, okay, no, this is not the Atlanta Falcons we're talking about.
Oh god, that
Tom
that
Brady
was just an
versus the
embarrassment.
Falcons.
That was one of the biggest embarrassments in the history of pro sports, man.
Well,
Like,
I'm a big Tom Brady fan. You guys know this. I had a big watch party at a someone with a very deep pockets basically rented half the tavern.
hmm,
So it was just all of our contacts, acquaintances, and friends. This was pre-COVID, obviously.
of course,
Such a thing. We'll never be allowed to do this again, ever.
yeah. Everything's over. Like, here's the thing: everything is over not because it's over. Everything is over because people decided they wanted it to be over, right? Because look, let's face it. If when governors make orders, right, and governors, mayors, everybody, all these politicians make orders, and they say, "Oh, you have to do X, Y, and Z." What happens if no one was cucked, right? They're just like this. I'm just gonna have my store open, period, right? Because you can't find the people that are 100% one direction, right? Or look, even
Oh
90%. You
God,
see what I'm saying? Like,
I was talking earlier about. So remember, I made the prediction that someone's finally going to snap and go into one of these tech companies.
mhm,
I said that before the show. Um, in the world where we started snitching on each other, neighbors snitching on everyone, people calling the cops because oh my God, there's 7 people at one house.
oh, dude, it's
One of these days, someone's just going to be like, you know what? I don't even care anymore, and grab a shotgun out of the closet, and all hell will break loose.
I can see it. Well, there's only so much carnage one person can cause, but you just need enough cases, right? Like sometimes it's not about one guy; it's just about having enough cases of similar incidents, right? Like, and that's really what it boils down to. Similar incidents.
There was a video out of Calgary. Some guy, it was an outdoor rink, but because there's a ban on indoor and outdoor gatherings, the cops came by. It was two female cops trying to wrestle down this hockey player. Even amateur Canadian hockey players are tough to fight, so it's 2 female cops who are having the absolute worst time trying to get down one hockey player who's in a Maple Leafs jersey, by the way. You know you're a loser when you can't even tackle a Maple Leafs player.
Ouch, burn.
Like, I'm looking at these two women cops trying to wrestle down a guy who has two razor blades strapped to his feet.
Oh,
Like, you don't
damn.
get into a tussle match with people who have razor blades strapped to their feet. He could have easily just sliced open one of their femoral arteries.
Well, what's wild is I remember that same case happened. I think it was like I said, it was in like Sweden or Switzerland, where the two female cops got their asses kicked by just one dude, and it ended up being like a regular civilian that stopped the ass whooping. So I don't know. Just I look around and I see some of this stuff, and it's just I don't know. I think that we reached that peak level of fuckery. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And but it's only the peak for right now. That's what makes it so unique. You see what I'm saying? Like, if someone says like this is the worst it's ever been, no, it's just the worst it's ever been until now,
So far.
so far, because it's gonna
Yeah,
get
it's like
worse.
the Simpsons movie, right? This is the worst day of my life. The worst day so far.
Yeah. Every time you think, oh, it can't get worse. Oh,
Now, what do you think was worse? Like, the events that happened last week? Or, if you think a year ago, we were a button press away from World War III, or so everyone on Twitter said.
I remember people saying that, and there was never a doubt in my mind. I don't know.
Like, the story as I know it was that there were jets in the air, and Trump called them back. They were going to start bombing Tehran, but Trump called them back, and he said, look, we've made our point. We made our point. We don't need to do anything else. I don't know if you could come back if those bombs had started flying. Like, it was going to be basically what Bush did to Baghdad. I almost said Benghazi. No, Baghdad. Oof.
Okay, Hillary.
That was almost a fuck up of geography there.
Mm.
But yeah, it was basically so, once they decided they were going to go with Operation Iraqi Liberation, and then they had to change the name to Operation Iraqi Freedom because they realized that the acronym spelled oil.
Right.
I don't know if that's actually true or not. It was just a meme. But yeah, when those bombs started flying over Baghdad, like, there was no going back. The Second Gulf War was in full swing. I think the same thing would have happened if those jets had made it to Tehran. It would have been the Third Gulf War.
Well, me personally, I just think more people need to spend time like. Here's the thing: if everyone's got their shit together, a lot of the other stuff doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, it works like this. They always talk about the civilization being founded in the family structure, right? So think of like if you have the families that are intact, right? If the family is intact, typically you're going to have a community that's pretty intact. If your community is intact, typically like that state or that county or whatever will be intact. If that county is intact, you see what I'm saying? It just keeps going vertical, right? When you start getting this just unmitigated fuckery all around you, it's like, you know what, man? That's the thing. There was a time when like people weren't really looking for war. They're like, look, man, we got bigger fish to fry. Whereas now people just look like they just want something to do, right? Like, isn't that what happened after the Floyd protest, right? People just wanted something to do.
Yeah, because they've been locked down for so long.
Yeah. So it wasn't about war. It was just them going, I just need something to do. And whether it be, burning something down, breaking something, yelling something on social media, whatever it was that gave them a release, that big adrenaline rush, whatever that was, they did it. And they're like, yeah, fuck it. Consequences be damned. I don't know. It's sad, but at the same time, like, it's very predictable. And look, speaking of consequences, you did hear about the Soho Karen, right? Out in New York, the one who falsely accused the team, the whole
Uh,
phone incident.
oh,
Well, they,
no, I
they
didn't hear
arrested her.
the resolution of that.
Oh, well, there's no resolution yet. So she got arrested and booked on charges.
Oh yeah, filing a false police report.
Yeah, she got a few other charges because she made she actually physically accosted the teenager, right? So she's done stuff, and I mean, like I said, we'll see what happens. But here's what I find to be real funny about this case. It's starting to shed a light on people just kind of getting fed up with the bullshit, right? Have you started to get that feeling that, like, okay, so prime example, when Me Too first hit, right? We're talking about the Hollywood Me Too, not the actual founding Me Too with Toronto Burke's ugly ass back 2007. So when Me Too got to the Hollywood elites and it first really hit, people really believed every time there was a Me Too story, right?
Yep.
If you accuse somebody, oh my God, she's got to be telling the truth.
Hashtag believe all women.
Yeah, well, that's the whole stigma, right? Believe all women. And then eventually people start going like this. Wait a minute. Because none of these stories added up, right? So you started hearing, and then that gave rise to the whole Karen thing, right? And people just going, look, another Karen, and they were always doing the same shit, right? Calling the cops, almost always, it was the cops, just calling them. I look at that Karen meme, right? And people were saying like, oh my God, wait a minute. I think they might just be making all this up. And then people, guys like me, you guys like TFM, there are certain types of dudes who like they were always lying, right?
Yep. We've known this from day one.
We've
How'd you
always
know
known
she's lying. Well, she opened her mouth.
She opened her mouth. That let me know she's lying. Did she open her mouth? She did, Drex. Then she's lying.
Yeah.
Simple.
Oh, we've got some emails to get to.
Oh shit, yeah. I'm glad I don't have a lot of articles today because I actually want to hear what people are talking about. But like, there was a story I wanted to touch on. I'm not going to read it. I just wanted to just kind of give you guys kind of like a brief overview because of how stupid it is. Like, you ever be sitting there and Tim, you're kind of just minding your own business. You're living life. Everything's good. And then you just see a story that's just a little bit too stupid. You ever had that happen?
Every single day of my life.
I look up Ian McKellen, right? The actor who played Wolverine. And I don't know if you guys talked about this or heard this story, but Ian McKellen says he was disappointed he wasn't sensitive to Elliot Page during X-Men: The Last Stand. Did you ever hear about this story? That he didn't know that Elliot Page, when back then, was Ellen Page. And here's what bothers me. Ian McKellen was using like they, them pronouns. Now, I don't know if like the newspaper, put those in there. You know what I'm saying? Like did inserts. Because I don't know anyone who addresses people as they and them as they speak, right? Like I was talking to Tim yesterday and they said like no one says they. Like nobody says that, right?
Maybe there's like 8 Tims. Me and Tim Curry and Tim Allen. We're all just standing there and you're like, I was talking to the Tims and they said.
I was talking to the Tims. It's just like, come on, man. Are you guys serious? So he just kind of goes on and talks about how, how Ellen or Elliot, whatever you want to call it, was feeling and whatever. I'm just like, I read this article. I'm just like, why are we entertaining this? Right? Like seriously, like, why are we even entertaining this fuckery?
Honestly, I've heard a queef sound more intelligent than what came out of that guy's hole.
Yeah, dude. If you like I said, the story is so stupid. I didn't want to like put it in the chat because it's just too stupid. If you just look up Ian McKellen and click news, you'll see the article pop up. And you'll read it and just feel dumber by reading it. Like,
what does he look like? I wonder what he looks like. I don't know the names.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because you don't watch movies. But yeah,
no, ever. He's not
old.
Ever.
Yeah, Ian McKellen is. I mean, the guy's got to be like 80 by now.
Okay.
Old white dude.
Where do I know him from?
Oh, he's been in tons of movies. Ian
McKellen
did he play
is gay. Dumbledore?
Yeah. I think he is in the Harry Potter movies. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I don't watch Harry Potter movies. I do believe that.
He turned it down. Okay.
Oh, he turned it down. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He is Magneto.
Yeah. Magneto.
Okay. Yeah. I only know an actor by a character they've played. I could never name. Like, I can't name any actors off the top of my head.
Wow.
And a character they played. Just one or the other.
Well, there's always Schwarzenegger and Terminator. That's the easy one.
Okay, yeah, I guess I do know that one. That might be the only one I know
where
I can actually name the actor and the character at the same time.
And the character? Yeah, but it was... I don't know. I just think that this is like one of those kind of streams where it's like it just wanted to be like very chill, very cool, kind of really like get into like the emails and stuff because it's like with so much censorship and stuff going on, and Nick and I talk about this. It's good to let things rest a while because I'm actually finishing The Punisher just for that reason, the Netflix show. Right, I'm on the second to last episode of season 2, and there's calls to get rid of Punisher. It's like. Anything that's digital could just be wiped away at any time, Tim. So, like, if you don't own that actual, physical media, poof, Thanos snap.
Oh no, Hollywood movies, please don't take those.
Yep.
No.
Well, because the thing is though, it's like so much has gone digital, right? Books have gone digital. I mean, it doesn't take much to get, think about it. Remember when the pandemic first happened and they started talking about coin shortages, right?
Yeah, that was such horse shit.
It was such bullshit, but it's like, but you just keep saying it long enough, people actually believed it, though, right? Oh, I'm using my car because of the coin shortage. Are you serious?
They just
It
don't want you like the one thing that all the big banks and big tech and big pharma, the one thing that they hate the most is that a physical currency still exists.
Agreed, agreed. Because now it's a lack of control on their part.
Yep. One of these days, I'm going to invent a technology where you can shove an American $20 bill into a power socket, and it will just end up where you want it to go. Like, it'll just come out of my socket here in the house, and I can put it in the show's bank account.
Hmm.
Like, I want that technology invented because apparently it's not MasterCard.
I don't have anything to say about Mastercard. The shenanigans that's going on and Parlor getting Thanos snapped away.
Okay, here's a question for you. What would you trust more? All of the people who use their credit cards to support our show, or
Hmm.
all the people mailing a $10 bill to you, like to your mailbox? What would you trust? What would you think would least get fucked with?
The anytime you have digital currency, right? Anytime someone's like moving an amount, right? If you move amount A from account A to account B, well, shit, a lot of things can happen, right? Like I don't know, did Nick tell you about how he got hacked? Did he tell you about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I
Yeah,
watched that show when he said he
yeah, yeah. So give me the cashier's check. Yeah, yeah,
like literally. When we talked about, why would you mail a $20 bill? Well, then why are we putting our votes in the mail?
correct.
You know that these credit card companies are building a database of who supports what, right?
Hmm.
Of who donated to the NRA.
Hmm.
You know that. You know they have that database, right?
Of course,
And they're just waiting for the time where they can say, all right, now we'll just we'll deperson all of the people who supported the NRA.
correct.
And it's not a conspiracy theory. It's something that's possible. It can be done. Will it be done? I have no fucking clue. I don't have a crystal ball. But it can be done because I know they have that data.
Absolutely.
And if you got the data, well, then you can act on it.
Yeah, I mean, you see them doing that now. I bet you. I mean, there was Nick showed me a screen grab of a guy who created a fake Donald Trump. I think it was like I can't even know Twitter. I was say Instagram, Twitter account, right? A fake Donald Trump banned. He's a black dude. So imagine a random black dude basically is masquerading like, "Hey, I'm Trump." He didn't like post anything. Banned.
I mean, that you can do automated scans for. But what I'm saying, the point I'm trying to make is the people who support this show. If Visa and MasterCard wanted to build a database of all the people who support MGTOW content, and then just, accidentally leak it to Pastebin someday. Oh yeah, here's the name and addresses of all the people who support MGTOW stuff.
Right.
Right? Do you think that you using your credit card is more likely to get fucked with than just mailing the show $10?
Correct. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make is that day's coming. It's not too far away where they're going to start deplatforming. They're going to start reverse looking up
Yep.
people who donated money to like Proud Boys and
Correct.
Soldiers of Odin, neo-Nazi groups, even Westboro Baptist Church, right?
Yep.
They're going to start going reverse because they already deplatform all of they deplatform the people who collect the money, but they haven't started going after the people who send the money.
Hmm.
But it's only a matter of time. I mean, they
Oh,
have the data.
well, the thing is that like once you get to that point, um, in a true republic, things like that wouldn't happen because you'd have checks and balances, right? They would say, "Whoa, this is clearly out of bounds." But once you have both sides working together, and they're going to say, "Hey, we're just going to go along with this," right? Because if there's no opposition from you look at it. Look, is the executive branch offering any opposition? No. Like, if you don't see any opposition we're talking about on a legal level. Think about it. When Microsoft got too big, they said, it's the government that stepped in, right? Oh, whoa, whoa,
Yep.
whoa, whoa, antitrust lawsuit, right? What if there's no one that steps in ever?
Go further back to Standard Oil, right?
Yep.
The Microsoft was never actually broken up, right?
Nope.
No. Okay, so Standard Oil actually was broken up. They were forced to sell bits of themselves to, and they spun up the Big Six out of the ruins of the Standard Oil decision. But yeah,
Mhm.
Standard Oil was actually forced to break up. Microsoft, the courts got cucked on them and said, "Yeah, we find you guilty of all this stuff, but you know what? Pay a fine that amounts to less than 1% of your annual revenue, and we'll just let you keep doing what you're doing."
Yeah. Isn't that sad? Like, but that's what it's come to, man. And like, all you can do is just kind of shrug your shoulders, like,
And we think the oil companies are the enemy. I think the oil companies are the only people left standing out of all of this, because you can't trust the pharmacies, you can't trust the banks, you can't
yep,
trust tech. Like, the oil companies are the only ones who could actually hold a candle to any of those other industries and say, "Hey, look, we've got $1 billion of lawsuits that we can file too." Used to be
yeah,
tobacco companies, and then they got shut down.
yeah. Well, here's my thing though. Now, okay, here's a prime example with tobacco. I'm a lifelong non-smoker, and my view of big tobacco has never changed. I don't like the idea that anyone can sue big tobacco for saying I didn't know what the effects were going to be when there's a Surgeon General's warning on every fucking pack, right?
I don't like that people can sue uh, gun manufacturers for Sandy Hook.
Yeah, yeah, that's ridiculous. Well, here's the thing: we're in that kind of a culture, and that's why when I remember seeing that Steve Jobs movie, I loved that scene where Steve Jobs says, when Scully is talking about his family, he's like, "Oh, that was your dad or whatever," and his callous reaction makes logical sense. He's like, I don't want to get sued. Like, basically, so Steve Jobs had to, within the context of the movie, had to basically cut himself off from like the normal human interactions because of the court system, right? Someone
Mhm.
could provoke you, they want money. Someone says that she had your baby, she wants money. This guy says that you stiffed him out of a bonus, money. You stole my idea, money. It's always so you basically just kind of become basically a prisoner. You're trapped by your own success, right? And that's horrible. Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to be in that predicament to be like, yeah, I'm successful, but I don't want to really enjoy my success because I have too many haters that want to tear away at my success with allegations and whatnot. Stupid, completely stupid.
If there's one person who's justified in having a chip on their shoulder, it's Jeff Bezos for what he got ripped off with his wife divorcing him.
Well, I laughed at that only because he's richer today than after the divorce with McKinsey.
Yeah, she's like, "Man, if I just waited a year."
If I just wait, I could have waited one more year. And it's like, well, I mean, who
But he's
knows?
doing it despite her. He's doing it despite her, right?
Yeah, probably. But though, from what I saw, I think a guy like Bezos, from everything I've seen about just how he reacted to the whole thing, I think he kind of had the same reaction as like Michael Jordan. Like, well, it is what it is. She was there, right? She can always say, "Hey, I was there when he started the company. Here's my contributions to the company." Blah 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 blah. I get it. You just, like I said, you just as a guy, you just kind of move on. Like,
Yeah.
I got asked that question earlier tonight. I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and she said, like, what is it the thing with guys won't move on? I'm like, I'm like, if
We
anything,
move on pretty fucking quickly from
yeah,
stuff.
that's what I said. I was like, I don't know what dudes you're talking about. I was like, in general, it's the chicks who don't let go. It's the
Yeah.
chicks. It's just like,
Yeah,
oh
they're the ones who will hold a secret. Like, if you fuck in a funny way, they'll hold that for 12 years, and then finally when they want to get back at you, they'll tell your friends, "Oh, he used to do this when we fucked and it was really embarrassing."
yeah,
But
and
oh god. Oh, so question for you.
oh
Is Elon Musk on our side?
You mean like the side of the people, quote unquote?
Yeah. I can't figure this guy out. Like, he took the
He's
government to the cleaners for all of that green energy shit. Like, he gobbled up all of their green energy subsidies. But I can't fault him for that, the same way I can't fault an OnlyFans thought, right? He just collected the money that they handed to him.
yeah. Well, I mean, look, they made the same accusations against Howard Hughes, right? They called him a war profiteer.
Yeah.
It's like, well, hold on. So the government gave me money to get these planes, and if the planes don't fly, they don't fly. But like, I didn't take the. Here's the thing: if someone were to ask you, to define, embezzlement, well, hell, you had to actually, the government would have had to given you money, and then you're like this, hey, where's the planes? And you had nothing to show, right? Like not even broken planes, planes that didn't fly. Like you have nothing, right? If
Yeah.
you're sinking costs into shit that you're trying to innovate and it doesn't work, trial and error, then that's why it didn't show up. But yeah, I don't know. It's Elon Musk.
I can't
I
figure
like
this
I
guy out.
like Elon Musk. I like him.
I
It
don't know
just
if I like him or not.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you what I love about Elon Musk. Ever since he tried, with the boys trapped in the Thailand cave rescue, he wanted to make a boy-sized submarine. That was all I need to see. I was like, this is hilarious. And of course, he didn't use it. They had already gotten the boys out, but still, it was the effort that counted. Like you're running all these companies, and like you're like, oh my god, there's boys trapped in a cave in Thailand, and you use spare SpaceX parts to come up with a boy-sized submarine. I love it.
And then Jeffrey Epstein bought it off him very soon after. Or
Yeah, right.
actually, no, that's because he went after girls. But
It's
yeah,
probably yeah, it's
whatever.
probably Jared from Subway. Some of these
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
creeps.
No. Yeah, he went after girls too, I think.
Well, did he though? I think it might have been a couple boys, maybe.
I mean, let's just go with a random hockey coach.
All these dudes are creeps, man. They're fucking creeps.
I mean, people who actively seek out and want to be around children, I'm just always suspicious.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've had that same thing. Like if they're kids that like you are directly related to, or like even with me, like Nick's kids, like they're kids that I see all the time, and Nick sees my daughter all the time. It's like I am suspicious of like when people want to hang with like basically strangers' kids, right? Like I want to be a camp counselor. Why? Right? Why?
Yeah, or a teacher or a priest, and
A
it's like,
priest, it's like,
okay,
wait a
why?
minute. Yeah, why though? Because you don't know these kids. Why do you want to be around kids?
Yeah,
I'm not
like you
trusted, man.
don't go to Nick's house to be with his kids. You go there to
Yeah,
see
yeah, yeah.
Nick and Lady
Yeah, yeah.
Rackets.
Is it like yeah. I'm going there to hang out with Nick. And the kids happen to be, of course, there because they're a byproduct of Nick and Lady Rackets. So it's like, and so they're like there by extension. But like I'm not actively hanging out with children. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like, hey kids, let's go and just hang out. Like, I mean, what would someone my age and someone their age be really have in common? Nothing.
And people get so fucking defensive too when you bring that point up, and they're like, no, don't you understand? I just want to help the next generation. I want to, I want them to be happy. I want them to have someone they can look up to. People get so goddamn defensive when you call them out on that too. It's
Man.
like, hey, well, wait a second. Why are you an 18 or 19-year-old playing with all of these like 6-year-olds?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, think about it. I mean, you know how it is. You ever been around somebody who has like older siblings, something like that? Like they didn't have shit in common with these other people, right? Like if you're an 11-year-old kid and you're not going to really be trying to hang around a 4-year-old. It doesn't make sense. Like they developmentally they're different, right? Like
Yeah.
how many words can a 4-year-old speak compared to an 11-year-old? You see what I'm saying? Their way of communicating, the things they're into, and then of course an 11-year old still playing with toys. We're talking about back in the day, right? He was still playing with toys. Well, a 15-year-old was more concerned about getting clothes for Christmas to impress girls at school.
Yeah.
I remember that change. I actually remember I was a kid and my older cousin said, like, we were talking about Christmas presents. He's like, man, all I want is clothes. The way I looked at him was like pure, like just bewilderment, right? Like
Yeah.
clothes. Like who the hell wants clothes? Because because of the age gap, right? The 4-year age gap. I think we had a 4-year age gap. The difference between a kid who's 10 and 14 is huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
They'll have nothing in common. Now, look, I'm
Nothing.
the I'm the oldest in my generation of my family, so I have a lot of cousins. I have a pretty big family. I have a lot of cousins. I have younger siblings. They're all younger than me. The youngest are the youngest of them were 12 years younger than me, right?
Goddamn.
So, yeah, there's a time where you go out on a family vacation and you're out at the beach and you're throwing water and sand at the little ones. But
Hmm.
there's a big difference between that and people who actively seek to go out with strangers' kids.
Yeah. That's the key element. It's strangers' kids.
Yeah, someone posted Robert Williams loved being around kids. I think there's a big difference between being a mall Santa and being a creepy weirdo, right? Mall Santas do it because they want to put smiles on kids' faces, and the
Yep.
parents are there. They're not alone with anyone,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
right?
yeah, that's the other element, right? Like, what is the context of their interaction, right? Which is a mall Santa, they're in public. You know what I'm saying? It's not like mall Santa doesn't say, "Hey, in order to get your wish told to me, you got to come over here in this back room." No, no, no. Mall Santa is sitting right there. You say it's like with the parents right there. Everyone's there, and ho ho ho. And then when everyone goes home, that's it.
Oh, actually, there's another good point about that too. Um, Robin Williams had a lot of demons in his head, and I think that like people are be happier when they're around children.
Hmm.
I think maybe that was, Robin Williams was on the verge of committing suicide, and that last refuge he had was being around smiling children.
Yep.
That might also be like knowing the context, I'd be like, yeah, no, just spend all the time with kids you need, as long as
Yeah.
someone's watching you.
Yeah, context always matters, man. I tell people that in most everything in life, context matters. I mean,
Man, we're
think
getting
about it.
into some heavy, heavy topic material here.
Well,
Uh,
look at if you and I were wrestling, right? Do you know that from a distance, you don't know if someone is play wrestling or real wrestling, right?
oh yeah, my dog used to bite my stepdad all the time.
Yeah,
Because
you don't know.
what fathers do to kids, right?
Yep.
They tickle them or throw them on a
Yep.
couch or a bed. Well, my dog actually bit my stepfather
Ouch.
when he did that. This was before my stepfather ended up being a complete drunken failure.
Ugh, that sucks. That still sucks ass, man.
But it's a funny memory though because I mean, well, first of all, my dog is a guard dog to me, right? I grew up with my dog,
Hmm.
so I was I think 6 or 7 when the dog was a puppy.
Oh wow.
So we grew up together, and by the time I was a teenager, the dog was older. He lived 13 years for
God damn.
a big husky shepherd mix.
My one of my best buddies had that. Yeah, he had a husky, and yeah, she was huge. I think her name was Hooch.
Yeah. Well, the bigger a
Huge.
dog is, it doesn't like small dogs can live up to 18 years. Bigger dogs tend to live only around 12
Mm.
years. So this one went to 13, and he was always had the energy of a puppy, right?
Mm.
You rattle the leash, and he's jumping at the eye level of the door.
Hmm.
So, oh god, those are good memories, though. He was a great
The
puppy.
childlike glee.
Yeah,
I get that when I'm around kids. Like when I see kids just being like, it's just these little things that they do that you see them and they're happy. Like they're like happy and fascinated and content with like something that's very simple, right? Like so, Nick's kids, I showed them Celeste, and Nick and I were playing, and they wanted to play, of course, and just seeing like especially like his middle boy, um just that like love for like something that's so simple, which is like I gotta beat the level, I gotta beat the level because Celeste is brutally difficult, right? Like you can just see it on their face though, right? It's like I just want to get better,
they
I just want to get better. It's so
yeah
simple.
they have this tenacity
Yep.
that no adult could ever replicate. If a child
Nope.
sets their mind to something, they could spend 20 years trying to accomplish it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just constantly whereas like I said, an adult because you remember, if you think about the way that adults manage time, right? Like most of our life as an adult is time management, right? Like man, okay, I got to do this at this time, this at that. Like that's why there's a schedule. A lot of the reasons why that adults get frustrated at children is that since they don't have a concept of time, it makes us frustrated because we're projecting that onto them, right? Hurry
Yeah.
up, hurry! You always That's why you always hear adults saying "hurry up," right?
Is that
Like,
why you're always late? Is that because you don't have a concept of time?
yeah, right. It's well, the crazy thing is that like when with adults, like one of the worst things that happens with us is that we end up burning the candle at both ends, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, so prime example, like tonight, like, so last night, I decided to leave Nick's house at 11 p.m.
Why did you do that?
So what ends up happening is I'm looking at, like, I'm thinking like, okay, what time should I get my daughter back to her mom, blah, blah, blah. And by the time, so everything got pushed back in the day. So by the time the kids ate dinner, it was late. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have those weird days where, like, rather than the kids eating dinner, like, let's say, yeah, let's say they ate lunch at like, noon-ish. And then now they had some snacks. Now they're eating like dinner at around like 5-ish. Or these kids are eating dinner at like, fuck, man. It was probably closer to, I can't remember if it was like what, 7:38, maybe something like that.
Oh,
So by the time these kids eat dinner, it's kind of like, oof, it's fucking late. It happens that quick where you kind of, but you remember they finished dinner. Like, yeah, you may have brought the food in at 7:07 p.m. But by the time the kids eat, laugh, run around, play games, go on their screens, and then they finish and go back downstairs, you're like, what time is it? Like, damn,
yeah.
it's wild times, man. But you said there's emails to get to. What are these emails?
Yeah, so there was a pretty long one that I deferred last week. We're gonna get to today. The subject of the email is friends cokehead X.
Oh shit!
But he's got a story about how a friend's girlfriend trashed his apartment, and that made him appreciate listening to his grandma's warnings about white women.
But it's funny you say that because I take flack for the things I say about black women, and the biggest issue that is that I want black women to do better, but I want guys to understand that it's all of them. It's all women. Like, if you were to ask white guys, they'll tell you like, "Pfft, have them, right? Isn't that why white guys are out going looking for Asian women, Latinas? Talk to Latino dudes. Have them. They're out there looking for something else, right? Like, you can go to any community, right? And you know this, Tim. You can go to any ethnic group. They will tell you can have these women, right? I've never met somebody that's like, even Asians. You always hear people talk about, oh, Asian. I want Asian. I want Asian. I've talked to enough Asian dudes. A lot of Asian dudes, yeah, they will go with a sweet Asian girl. I will give them that. But if they don't have that available to them, they'll go for a white chick in general.
Okay, so this person goes on to say he was at a friend's apartment, and they were watching a football game, and about 30 minutes into the game, his girlfriend, the friend's girlfriend, comes back. Although she was more of a roommate, couldn't get rid of her because she's on the lease, which was your first mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. She hadn't paid the rent in a couple of months. They sleep in different beds.
Ugh.
She was coked out when she got home. And was like dropped off by a bunch of strangers. So she starts yelling. Fred makes a comment about how she hasn't paid the rent and hardly ever stays there anymore. So she starts breaking everything.
Oh shit!
Empties out the cupboards, broke chairs, ripped the ice out of a
No.
water. Oh yeah, the dispenser panel at the back of the fridge. The floor was damaged, full of dents and cracks. Hit him once or twice. Yeah, so she went completely ballistic.
Clearly.
The strangers that brought her to the apartment asked if they should like stay behind and like help. That friend told them it's don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
So what ended up becoming of this crazy cokehead?
Police got called.
Oh shit!
He didn't record anything, so they couldn't prove
Oops.
it was her.
Oops.
Yeah, by the way, everyone's got a goddamn camera in their pocket. When thoughts start acting out of line like this,
Yeah.
hit the record button.
Well, do you know what that's like? Okay, what if like the text that we send, were only let's say they weren't backed up at all, right?
Yeah.
And someone shows up in court and they're like, "Well, what happened?" Or the police come in and start doing questions. And what happened? Well, I mean, it was on my phone, but I just threw my phone in the toilet, right? It's or it's auto delete. You like, are you serious? Like that could really help your case, or those phones, Tim.
Okay, so she leaves. He moves out of that apartment and just eats the cost, the friend. Which, by the way, I'm starting to believe less and less is the friend, and it's actually just the guy who wrote the email. This happened to him. He can confirm in the chat if he wants, but...
Right.
Oh yeah, she also broke her wrist while she was smashing everything, and then started a rumor in the city that her boyfriend, the friend, was fucking a black guy.
What? Like, what does that have to do with anything, though? Like, you know what I mean? When people here's the thing. Here's the problem I have. Like when you said earlier, did she open her mouth? Yeah, then she's lying. Why does everything have to be a lie, though? Everything. Seriously, look, I'll give you a prime example. Kevin Samuels, he actually shows he basically holds a mirror up to women. Tim, the amount of deflection, the amount of gaslighting, the amount of bullshit. Like, seriously, ask a woman a straight question, right? Like, okay, so he was, today I was listening when I was with my daughter dropping her off, right? He's like, okay, so he provided for you. You didn't have to work. He was a good husband. He never cheated, blah, blah. He's like, so why'd you divorce him? She couldn't give a straight answer, right? Because if you say that this is what you want, and then it's like, you never, like with dudes, this, Tim. If I ask a dude to give an answer about whatever the case may be, right? Like, hey, Tim, what happened to that girl? Oh, man, she got crazy. What did she do? Oh, she was Amber Heard style and shit in my bed. Okay, that's why. Yeah, I would have gotten number two.
Yeah. Unless you're a simp and then you start dodging the question, right? Like the more of a simp you are, the more your answers to questions start sounding like women's.
They start sounding like women. Because if someone were to ask me a question about a random chick, I'd be like, "Oh, this is what happened." Like for better and for worse. Like, and when I fuck up, I will say, like, "Look, my sub's mom, right?" I just said, like, "This is what I did." Yep, I did it. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and dance around the question. Yeah, I did it. What do you want me to say? This is what it is. This is about the reasons why I did what I did. Simple.
Look, the only reason I lie is to a police officer, or because I'm trying to tell a woman that I care for her and I love her and that I value and respect her as an individual.
Oh my God, you're killing me. You're killing me.
No, but there's only two groups of people it's acceptable to lie to: cops and women.
Yeah, sad but true.
Oh, TFM just got kicked off of DLive.
No shit.
Oh, let's see if he's well, maybe we can pull him in to talk about that really quickly, but I'll see if he's around.
Damn.
Yeah, I just got that posted in general. Just got kicked off of DLive. I was going to get to one of his comments too. He left a comment on the last video that I thought was worth bringing in.
Holy shit.
Man, the world's going to hell.
Like, how do you just get like poof gone, kicked off? Like, wait, what? Damn.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be next if we keep him around us.
Right? Yeah, he's like the.
I mean, he did say that. He said that in the New Year's stream.
He literally did say that too.
Anyone who brings him on gets kicked off.
Wow.
Talks about some lawyer. I don't know who that is. Okay, mid 2019 was when he broke up with his girlfriend, and he hasn't gotten laid since then. He said he knows it's in the Me Too era, it's bad to try. Not true. But even when I try to shoot, he strikes out. Can't figure out if breaking up with her ruined his game. Is there any advice? First of all, you didn't tell us how long you were with her. Because you've said this many times about Nick, and Nick has said it himself. If he gets back into the game today, he's completely fucked.
Oh yeah.
No idea.
It's kind of like John Gruden in the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Like,
hey, John Gruden's a great coach. Don't you dare shit on John Gruden.
I wouldn't say great. Here's the thing, though. Do you know that for what, like the last almost 15 years, that you keep hearing about them saying, like, Bill Cowher should come back. Bill Cowher should come back. Could you imagine Bill Cowher coming back to the modern NFL with all the things that have changed? He's been out of the games because remember, he's an analyst, right? An analyst is different than the person who's actually like living it. John Gruden was an analyst. He gets out there and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, when you
Being
actually
a
have to
head
start
coach is
making decisions and
y
justifying your
yeah, yeah,
salary.
not just critiquing other people's decisions. It's kinda like being a movie critic, right? It's
Yeah.
easy to be a movie critic and sit there and go like this, "They should have done this in this scene. They should have done that in that scene." But if you're the one making the movie, you don't know. You don't know how a scene is gonna play out if you're the one making that scene
Yeah.
until either you make it and people like it or they don't.
CinemaSins is one of my favorite YouTube channels when it
Yeah,
comes to
they're
movie
good
reviews.
stuff.
They also have like gaming sins. It's not nearly as good, but every now and then they put out a pretty funny video. And you know what? The reason, like this is why I hate movie critics so much. They think they are the royalty of the movie industry.
Yeah.
And CinemaSins does not take themselves too seriously. They shit on movies, but if you go to their channel, the video that you see on their channel is them shitting on themselves
Yeah.
and the fuck ups that they did.
You gotta have a sense of humor about the thing, man.
They don't take themselves too seriously. They make it for entertainment, for comedy, right? That's what
Yeah.
CinemaSins is. It's not this. Look, I don't judge whether I want to see a movie based on what the CinemaSins guys say. But I want to make fun of a movie, or if I just want to laugh, I go watch their channel.
Hmm.
So, anyways, back to the email. The most important thing that you have to tell us is how long you were dating this girl for. Because if it was 4 or 5 years, that's long enough. That's long enough to get you out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's muscle memory. I mean, think about it. It really is muscle memory. Like if I'll give you a prime example. Think about anything that you do consistently, right? Because think about it. If you're in a relationship, you're doing something day in, day out, right? Whether that's kite surfing, it doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
Then just go cold turkey because that's what a breakup is, right? Boom, it's just stopped.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden you go like this. Oh, it's been 4 years. Now let me. Well, damn. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. Doing something for the first time that long, I mean, hell, that's like being in a coma. I got to teach my legs how to walk again. I got to teach my body how to be a body again, how to function.
Yep. I've got a little bit of advice for this guy. Feel free to add on or to counter it. But you're probably in your own head. You're looking at women or you're talking to them, and your brain is thinking, okay, I want to say this thing, but it's incredibly stupid and corny and cheesy, and she won't like it. Well, do the opposite. Say the corny, cheesy thing.
Yeah.
That gets you kind of back into the game, right? Like, look, if you haven't been on ice skates in a while and and then you try to do the Red Bull crashed ice, it's going to look hilarious. Okay? You don't go, if you've been off of ice skates for 10 years and then you go do the Red Bull crashed ice competition as your first time wearing skates, yeah, you're going to fail spectacularly.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
the little things, right? Go out there. We said this about another emailer too. Go out there and talk. Just talk to a woman that you're not interested in.
Absolutely.
Right?
I was
Dollhouse
just
Phil
going to
said
say
this.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk to a woman you're not interested in and get comfortable talking to her. Get comfortable translating the BS that they engage in daily. Like if they're worshiping the moon and practicing witchcraft, if that's what's in right now, healing crystals and all
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's really cool and insightful. I value and respect your opinion as an individual, right?
I mean, I wouldn't, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
No, but you say that. You don't have to mean it, but you say it. Because it lubes them up.
Yeah, I mean, it feeds their narcissism, right? Like it just basically like they want to talk about themselves. And that's why think about it. What is a trend? Trends don't really affect dudes. It affects women. The clothes a trend. Everything is a trend to them.
Remember, men have this. Every man has an autism about something. Usually their hobby, right?
Yep.
Something that like I have autism when it comes to mountain climbing. I look at anything and I start thinking about how to get to the top of it. Oh, I could probably scramble up that route. That cliff is too vertical, right?
Mhm.
Guys will get autism about one thing, at least in their lives.
Absolutely.
Well,
They should.
Women don't want to hear it. So if you go into dates or you're hanging out with women and the conversation just always is talking about what you like doing, that doesn't involve her, right? So don't talk about your brony collection. Don't talk about your Pokemon cards or how you played Pogs in little school, right? You're
Yeah,
telling
keep it
her
short
the
and sweet.
cheap, cheesy, corny stuff. Oh,
Yep.
I go bird watching, right? And I
Mhm.
call the police on black guys. I went down to the creek and I just sat on a bench.
Yeah.
Like guys would be completely bored of that story.
Yep.
Women wouldn't.
Yeah.
She'll find it,
Yeah.
she'll find a way to make it about her. Oh, I went down to the creek once and I remember
Yeah,
this time I
always.
saw a rock that looked like Jesus Christ.
Yep. They'll always make it about them. It doesn't matter what story you tell.
But then you're
All
in.
stories.
You're
Because you're
in,
in. Yeah, because at
right?
some point she's gonna laugh.
Yeah. Your brain is getting in your own way because you're treating conversations with women like you're treating conversations with men or women who are your friends. Right?
Yeah,
You ever notice you talk to the women who are your friends differently than you talk to women you've never met before.
absolutely. Yeah, well, the dynamic is so different though. It's so
Yeah.
different to talk like because I was actually doing that before the show. I ate that garbage food and I'm sitting there hurting. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and yeah, we're just shooting the shit. But it's like how we speak to each other is very different. Like if you were to see that phone conversation, and then followed by another phone conversation with another woman, where our relationship is different, it would sound like night and day.
Like she hit you up in the group, right? The lifestyle
Correct,
group,
correct.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Completely different conversation.
completely. Yeah, the tone, the everything is different.
So, first of all, uh, if you have been out of the game a long time, that's where you need to start doing some research.
Yeah, research and ease
That's
back into it.
Yeah, that's where you start getting with groups of women that you're not attracted to, but they don't immediately throw you out of their group. If you
Hmm.
don't have any, they're easy enough to find. All you got to do is put a sign up on your treehouse that says "No girls allowed," and you'll be up to your tits in women.
Oh god, they love it. They love me until they can't be somewhere. It's like like a child.
Yeah,
It's just like, here we go. Oh my god, you're excluding me.
yeah.
Ugh.
Just go on Facebook on your Facebook neighborhood and be like, "Guys barbecue, guys
Yep.
only barbecue in the backyard."
It'll get
You'll have
invaded.
so many women in your backyard, you won't know what to do.
Yep. It'll get invaded. Always.
Yeah, so anyways, feel free to follow up too. Let me know how it's going.
Oh yeah,
And for
like
anyone
that.
that we give advice to, like I said, I don't always respond to the emails or the comments, but I do see them, I read them. So when you're giving me updates on like what's happened since you wrote in, yeah, if it's interesting enough, maybe I'll bring it in and say, "Oh yeah, we gave this guy advice in episode 2 and
Yep.
well, now here's the feedback we got from it."
Yeah.
Um Oh God. Well, the name on this email is Creeper Weirdo.
Oh.
This could be interesting. They end the message with "Bring Phil as often as you can."
I know. I know. I definitely
I'm not
because
opposed to it.
he's great. He's great.
Like I
I
said,
mean, hell,
the
if
joke
I were in England,
is,
I'd do like a daily show with Phil. If I were in the UK, I'd be doing like a daily or weekly show with Phil.
oh,
Always.
oh, we can like I've always joked, right? I'm not the co-host of this. I'm just the producer. I have
Of course.
absolutely no problems pulling Phil in as a co-host.
Yeah, anytime Phil wants to come on, he's always welcome. Because I mean, he's just, some people just have it. He just has the gift.
Yeah, you'll see a lot more of Phil. Don't worry about it. Um, all right. So the email goes: why do they always introduce themselves by mentioning some lawyer we don't know?
Do they?
Yeah, that's like 8 emails in a row now. That's just like, oh, I've been listening to you on Nick's show, or I know you from Nick, or I watched you on Nick and talk about Vic stuff. And I'm just like, oh, come on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That
I'm
lawyer.
joking.
At
Jeez,
first, I'm
yeah,
like, lawyer. I don't know. I was like, oh, that guy.
yeah, that guy. Yeah, what does Migtown mean as an ideology, and what made Drexel and Tim reach the conclusions of it? Um,
I think it's inevitable. We talked about that with Dollhouse Phil, remember? And
and this email's like a follow up to that, right?
yeah, it's basically like the separation, you divest from the Matrix, right? So here's the thing though, Tim. Society puts an expectation on men, right? This burden on you. And when they put that burden on you, you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, I'm so and they condition you. They try to condition you to live up to that. That's why most guys say stuff like, "Well, Drex, I really want a family." Do you know how many times I've actually talked to guys and I said, "Where did this you want a family really come from?" Because you've heard this, Tim.
Yep.
You see this with women, where a single woman, what does she crave more than anything? Is to get married. And then what does the married woman always crave? Being single, right? She's like, oh, being shackled down is horrible. And then the other person's going, I just want to hitch up with some.
I was going to say black dick, but yeah, close enough.
Yeah. Well, you just get to this point where it's like you just want to be away from all of it, right? That's all it really boils down to. I want to be away.
So, what this person's asked is, okay, so drawing off of those conclusions we made in episode 6, he asked because he can't go all the way through with it. Now, I think there is a misunderstanding here because he says, okay, yeah, I get it, thoughterly, third wave feminism. That's cheeky.
Very.
Has ruined intergender relationships, and he agrees with that. But if it's not about dating or getting married, he can't go that far. And I'm like, okay, so
you're acknowledging the problem.
Migtown is not a forcing of not getting married, not having relationships, not having kids. It forces you to do none of those things, right?
Yeah, it just is, okay, what is your personal happiness? Like, and I've always said this. I've seen people that have said things in the comment section. I do need to get into the comment sections and start really interacting more. I was just busy this past week, and I see things like, well, it'll say something like, I hope Drex finds happiness one day. It's like, I am happy. It's just what makes me happy is not what makes Nick Rekieta happy or makes you, the guy who just said that, happy. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm all about people doing whatever it is that makes them happy, so long as they aren't hurting other people.
Look, I just cashed a sizable paycheck the other day. I'm very happy.
See?
Look, I have no problem admitting that I am an extremely materialistic guy. But because going your own way means what makes you happy and pursue it.
Always.
That's what Migtown means to me. It's so simple at the fundamental level, and yet everyone just, the golf ball is on the tee, they wind up for this huge swing, and then they whiff completely on it. And that's where I'm seeing this email kind of go here, too. It's not about virginity. It's not about not getting married or getting married. It's none of that. Boil it down to its most basic element. It is what makes you happy. Pursue it.
Yep. Yeah, you just better yourself. Whether it be skill sets,
if you like having sex with women, then pursue women. If you like having sex with guys, pursue guys. If you like having sex with both, I don't know, open up an OnlyFans.
Right.
If you want to get married and have a family, because like I've said this multiple times on the show, that is my ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing Drex says about thoughterly or all the horror stories with Cynthia, none of that is going to deter me from pursuing the goal. Am I a lot more careful in how I pursue it? Absolutely.
You better be.
That's why I'm getting to 30 and I'm still not married and have kids yet, because I've seen the candidates up for selection and I decided to go with none of them.
Yeah. Let me ask you this as a general rule of thumb. When you're just out and about in Canada, what would you say is kind of like just a rough percentage of what you're looking at are marriageable material women?
Okay, well, where I live in Canada, there's going to be a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I live in an area that is, we still have the farm economy out here.
Wow.
Right? So you got a lot of farmers' daughters. We have a lot of like religious Mennonites, Mormons, and whatnot. Like those are all marriageable material. Not all, but they have a pretty good percentage. The women in the city of Calgary, they're not as fat as their cousins over in Toronto. They're not as hot as their cousins over in Montreal, but then Montreal is also on average fatter.
Damn.
So if I'm gonna throw a percentage on it, I'd say about a quarter. Say about a quarter are legitimately marriageable material.
Not terrible by modern standards, anyway. Right? Not
No,
terrible.
not at all. Not at all. I mean, depending if you go out into the like Tabor, which is famous for its corn, you could get your percentage might be up to around a third.
Nice. But it's still a third, right? Like there was a time when, I mean, damn, and that kind of goes what TFM was saying. Maybe you had, 10% max was bad. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
with quality marriageable women, and like I said, you go into these major cities and you know this, it's damn near zero.
Well, and he ends his email by saying that he does like the show and the advice we give, but if a larger portion of society were to adopt no marriage, no relationships out of friendship or fuck buddies, say 30%, then America would be in big trouble. Well, spoiler
It
alert.
already is.
America is in big trouble, and it has
Yeah,
been
yeah,
for quite a while.
yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, it's already done.
In Canada, the
So,
only people who are breeding are Muslims and natives.
yep.
Like even black families aren't nearly as big anymore. Well, because of
Nope.
abortion, right?
Yep. Well, that and just the rampant single motherhood. Because think about it: if a woman has, let's say, she has 3 kids by 3 dudes,
There ain't no fourth one coming around.
yeah, there's probably not gonna be a fourth. Whereas if she's in a nuclear family, she had 3 kids, she's probably likelier to have that fourth one.
That black families were outbreeding white families before abortion was decriminalized.
I'm willing to bet they're probably true, or at least they were neck and neck. I mean, because everyone was having a bunch of kids back then, right?
The idea, though, that America would be in trouble if more people stopped getting married. No, you're not only is the train backwards, but you're on the wrong track too.
I mean, here's the thing: the way that families now view themselves as families has changed, right?
Yep.
Whether it be, what they call them, the joint families and all this, like so much has changed, right? Like just the nature of relationships themselves. Like there's a lot of guys out there that are sharing women, right? Like, well, I know she talks to other guys, but I'm a cuck, so I'm just like, Jesus,
No respect at all. All right. That's gonna do it for the emails. There was a couple long ones in there, but let's. I want to pull in a couple of comments. TFM
go
is the
right
first
ahead.
one I want to get to. He commented on episode 6.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it was the epiphany that out of episode 6 that women go through hoe phases. Or sorry, no, they don't go
Yeah, they
through hoe
don't go through.
phases.
Yeah,
They
they go
go
through
through
relationship
relationship
phases.
phases.
Yep,
So his take on that was that women use sex to get relationships as a means to an end. Notice that once we created welfare, the family court, quotas, to free women from their need for men financially, they didn't marry the good men who would be good fathers to their children and good companions to them. They simply became single mothers and cougars who chased the D.
I agree.
That is women's true nature, and this can be
But
confirmed.
this has been confirmed though. Like, and it's not like bashing. Like seriously, you can go look at there was someone that posted a meme on the Migtown podcast Facebook group where it actually showed I believe it was tenets from the Buddha, right?
Okay.
And Buddhist principle, and it was literally right. Like it literally said exactly that about women. Like, they're just hedonistic, seeking like this quick validation fix of pleasure. Like left to their own devices, that's what they will do.
TFM's kind of closing comment is that, the women use men for resources. Men created a nuclear family to ensure that men were not investing in other men's children. So he
Correct.
says, yeah, you're precisely correct, but it's way worse than you imagine.
Yeah. Like I mean, here's the thing. So TFM is kind of going more like the historical aspect. I was more forward to just like this, because right now, like I said, I know that women only went for the nuclear family because they gave them the best chance, right? That's just their hypergamy kicking in. Like, oh, okay, well, this guy is gonna be my best chance at survival in a comfortable life, then that's what I'll go with. But as soon as the government got in, it's like, oh, like he just said, I don't need the relationship for the resources. I can get the resources from daddy government, which is men as a collective, and then I'll just go get the D until they
Yeah.
get walled out, stalled out.
Yeah, another comment I wanted to bring in is this one's from a woman, actually. Fan of
Oh,
Nick's, too. You might, I don't know, if you come across a comment, you might recognize her. I'm not going to say the name. But she says that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And it's
agreed.
almost the same with lust. The opposite is indifference. It's actually a parenting hack to never panic or show extreme reaction to something you're tempted to freak out on. Because, and I made this point in the last show, the easiest way to get someone to do something, and this is women, men, children, all humans, is to tell them not to do it.
Yep.
Children especially will on purposely do stuff that get reactions out of parents.
Yep.
And so you just got to be able to go, meh, while you're internally screaming at how big of a
Correct.
bill that cost you.
Yep. I agree 100%.
I know I used to do that to my mother all the time. The best April Fool's pranks I ever pulled were the ones where I knew I could hit the right button, the thing that she would hate to hear out of my mouth the most.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a teenager, it was, oh, hey, this pregnancy test came back. Or when I was a lot younger, I had a younger sibling that was an absolute terror. So when I blamed that younger sibling for flooding the bathroom, like just putting the stopper in the tub and running the water
Ooh.
for an hour,
Ooh.
it was a believable lie. So watching my mother freak out, grab a mop and bucket and charge upstairs just to see nothing. And then me on the floor rolling and laughing. Do you have any good pranks you've ever pulled? Or I mean, that's the thing too, is my mother never hit me. So I have a funny feeling maybe other people, if they pulled pranks like that, they'd be getting the raw end of a belt.
No, in black families, you're not allowed to prank. That's an ass whooping.
Oh, so all these videos that are pranks in the hood, right?
Yeah, no. Here's the thing.
This is why they react like that. Is because they've never seen shit like this before.
Yeah. Yeah. When you see like that's why if you saw like the Jackass guys when they would have like I remember one time they were hanging out like 3 6 Mafia. The reason why these guys are laughing is because yeah, it's funny, but also like oh my god, pranks. Pranks is a novel concept in the black community. Very novel. I mean, like I
Yeah.
said, they just take it as you need an ass whooping.
Yeah, see, Native mothers are like that too, but my mother's raised white.
Hmm.
So she acts like a white mother.
Oh, I see. Yeah, in black families, it's an ass whooping, man. Trust me.
Yeah.
Any kind of oh yeah, we just wanted to make you laugh or get a rise out of it. Nah, it's an ass whooping.
Yeah, now that I reflect on that, I probably got away with a lot of shit.
Isn't that the best? You think back, you're like, damn.
Yeah. I have that native genetics, right? That innate troublemaker gene in me that looks at any peaceful situation and it starts thinking about, okay, how do I ruin it? I have that innate gene in me, but at the same time, there wasn't the parents to balance it out, right? Like a native kid who has that gene gets his ass whooped a dozen times a week.
Yeah, you need to learn that there's consequences to things, right?
You know?
Hell, and sometimes there's even consequences just having a way of thinking,
Oh,
like
I
in
mean,
that context.
don't get me wrong, there were consequences. Um, Maybe not enough, but there were.
I don't know, man.
You know,
Anytime you lose the PlayStation, that's a consequence.
well, see, that's the thing is I've always been smarter than both. Well, I was definitely smarter than my stepdad because he was an alcoholic failure. Um,
Ouch.
and when it comes to technology, I was a lot smarter than my mother. So I configured the Wi-Fi in the house,
Hmm.
and she didn't know how to change the password.
Hmm.
But I mean, look, if your daughter's acting up and she spends a lot of time on those screens, And I'm sure Nick does the same thing too. When you get to that point, you're like, all right, I'm changing the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, you can always do that. Yep.
I'm sure Nick's done that a few times there because I know his kids spend quite a bit of time online.
Then they hit you with the no, dad, no, don't. It's like, yeah, got your attention
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I got you. Definitely got your attention.
Got your fucking attention, right?
See, that stuff didn't work on me because I always had the stronger steel will than my mother. I've told the story before. I don't know if I think I cut it from a recording, but um, trying to get me to eat vegetables when I was a kid, impossible, because I wouldn't get seconds. Right? Okay, I'm going to bed. I'd go to bed hungry. Eventually, my mother would feel bad and just bring me some cookies.
Yeah, see, yeah, yeah, we didn't get that. It was an ass whooping.
I was prepared. I was all in to go to bed hungry. Well, first of all, if you we weren't a rich family. In fact, the opposite of rich. So if you've ever gone to bed hungry before, it's not pleasant, but you'll live.
Yeah. Well, and usually when you wake up, you're not immediately hungry, right? It takes a while
No.
for your stomach to kind of warm up, and then you get hungry. Like maybe like depending on what you're doing, yeah, somewhere around like 2+ hours after you wake up.
But if I ate something, I would get violently ill because nothing
Yeah.
like the stomach didn't wake up yet.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I learned that like real early on. Yeah, your stomach has to kind of like warm up. Like well, even now as an adult, like right, like if you get up, you kind of like to have like just like a little something, right? Like just a little, like a little snack, something. Like very rarely do I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I want a huge breakfast. Like,
Well, I mean, the first thing I do when I wake up is get one inside maple,
yeah,
and then I go eat.
yeah. Of course, of course. After you've been drained in more ways than
No,
one.
yeah. So, man, that cinnamon toast crunch, I tell you.
Yeah. I had to swirl it all up in the midget guts.
Oh God, I regret this. Oh great. So now the time stamper is going to be like, and now Tim likes cinnamon toast crunch.
Of course. God, it just reminds me of some of those old Ren and Stimpy episodes, like Powdered Toast Man and all that classic shit. That's all gone now.
If you go back and watch some of those kid shows though, do you realize how dirty some of their jokes were?
Yeah, and also like a lot of them are like disturbing. Like not just like Ren and Stimpy was actually disturbing. Like the nerve endings fair. Like it was very like creepy looking imagery.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like at the time, we just thought it was bizarre and we loved it just because it was funny and silly and whatever. But damn,
I hope I never have to deal with the Disney Channel ever in my life. I was lucky I grew up before the Disney Channel was a thing.
you're
And
missing
obviously I don't have
nothing.
any
Trust
kids
me.
yet, so I don't ever have to watch it.
Trust me, you're missing nothing, man. Like Nick's
It's not
youngest.
what I'm missing. It's the rage induced insanity that consuming content made for children older than 8 but under 15, the social conditioning,
It's bad, man.
and you see it in some of these movies now, right? Where they're like, look, Disney princesses have always been a thing. Even when I grew
Correct.
up, I never wanted to be Princess Jasmine or Snow White. That thought never crossed my mind once.
But now,
What happened? Every boy wants to be Princess Elsa.
dude, it's just fucked. Honestly, I just got to a point where I just kind of,
Is there okay, so Parlor is still up for those who are wondering. We do
hmm.
have a Parlor account, Drex.
Oh,
So
look at
I'm
that.
wondering like the podcast has its official Parlor account.
Look at that.
I,
To be determined.
yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
But oh, could talk about scars forever. Is it true that women like scars on a man's body? Is that a thing?
It is a thing.
Are
So
scars on a man's body like tattoos on a thought?
yeah, I don't know if it's like that, but it's just here's the thing. Like women, here's the thing. Women love the taboo, the danger. So whatever stuff causes you to have like like Nick and I, me, Nick, Lady Rackets, we're watching the Punisher series, right? And of course, in season 2, and then from the comic books, you have Jigsaw, right? Whose face is all mangled and shit, right? And scarred up. It's toned down in the show much more so than the comics, where he looks like a fucking abomination. But yeah, his therapist is just like all into him. And it's like you would think a guy who looks like this would get no play, but nah, man. They like the stories, like, oh my god, you now if you're just a douchebag, they don't want guys with douchebag scars. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've got a couple of those, where I punched someone's tooth.
Mm. Well,
Yeah, I got
Jason
a couple.
Momoa has the scar, right? The scar in his eye.
Yeah.
His eyebrow has it's like his like defining feature because it's because when you get stitches and you have like a laceration above your eye, like it has it gives you like that weird little like cut eyebrow look, and ladies love it, man. They love that.
Yeah. I put a nail into my head once. That one
Ugh.
was a few stitches.
Ugh.
I've, as much as a little shit I was also very, this body's been through a lot.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Beware. There was stories when I was a kid. Nick and I were talking about this. Every injury you have ever had, your body keeps an active toll on.
Uh-huh.
So when people say like, yeah, I had this injury when I was 17, this injury, then I rolled my ankle, I broke this, and in your mind you're thinking like, yo, I feel good enough. Trust me, it'll start happening because I thought it could never happen to me. Every injury.
I've rolled my ankles so many times I could use it as a D20 in a Dungeons and Dragons match.
but I'm telling you, it'll happen. Like it'll just happen out of nowhere where you're kind of like, oh damn, like oh like I'm talking
It
like
doesn't fix. Right? You always
yeah yeah
expect your body to fix itself, and the one
yeah
time it
you're like
doesn't,
eh.
and you're like, "Oh, this was the injury. This was the
Well,
one
yeah,
too
and
many."
you remember the injury too. Like you like if you like tweaked your back or landed awkwardly on your hip or something, you got up from that and you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it was just a bad fall. I'm okay. It
Oh,
happens
yeah.
years later. Your body knows that you took that hit, and it's like all of a sudden, like, damn,
It's
my
gonna
fucking
guard that
hip.
spot.
Yep, it's the weirdest. Like, it's really delayed though, because
No,
like I said,
I
I'm
could tell you.
38, and I've already had it happen.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. So in hockey, I spiral fractured my right tibia. Now, if you don't know what a spiral fracture is, just imagine the foot rotating long and hard enough that it snaps the shin above it.
I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the Kevin Ware injury against Louisville?
Yes,
The Louisville
the
that I
bone
remember
sticking
seeing
out.
that, dude. I have a gal who hadn't seen that, and we warned her like it's the worst thing ever, right? And she's like, she hates those kinds of things. Of course, that meant that we had to show it to her. Of course, that meant that she had to look at it, right? She couldn't help herself, and just the look of terror on her face because oh god, man, if you guys have never seen that, for those of you in the chat, maybe you're not a basketball fan. Just look, just go ahead and go on YouTube and just look up Kevin Ware, Ware, Kevin Ware injury. It's Do you remember seeing that live? Like, did you see that live, Tim? Did you like you're like the
No,
game
I
because
didn't
it's
see it live. I saw the replay on I don't know why they showed the replay like that. I guess because it didn't like spurt blood. I guess it was
Yeah,
safe
yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
work to show on
Correct,
ESPN, right?
dude. It was so brutal.
Like
I
this is the
remember
thing
just
I
seeing
can't
that land.
figure
And I was
out
like,
is how an injury like that doesn't bleed harder.
I just think that he got lucky, right? Like just the way
Yeah,
the bone broke, like one of those like fluke, like your bone broke at this angle and this trajectory, and that's why it caused this. It's like because
yeah, and it just
you
missed
normally
all
think
the
if a
blood
bone
vessels.
breaks, yeah, if a bone shatters, and the bone is literally sticking out. You're thinking like, oh, there's gonna be like blood everywhere, but there wasn't.
No, I've seen a soccer player who got a metal cleat through his thigh, tore it, like unzipped it like a body bag, and you could see bone. And I'm just like, why isn't he covered in a pool of blood?
Yep, it's weird, man.
It just
It just
missed all the blood
missed all
vessels.
the good stuff. Yep, and
Yeah.
it just yeah,
Okay,
it's
so the reason you don't see hockey players they have injuries that bad, but because you as a hockey player are covered in like a layer of armor and then duct taped to hell, like hockey players are permanently bent at the knee and at the waist because of the way they put on pads, you can't straighten those. You can't straighten your arm or your legs because the protective padding that covers them won't let you.
Correct.
So when they break a bone, it's all that padding and tape that holds the bone in from sticking out of something. This injury that I got would have been a compound fracture had it not been for the shin pads and the skate boot holding it all together. Because the way I hit the boards at the awkward angle, again, envision twisting your ankle so hard, but then the ankle can't go anywhere because it's in this solid skate boot. You've seen skate boots, right? Those things are solid. They have no give.
Correct.
So it just twisted further up the leg, and because I have a pretty good knee, it didn't like sprain my knee. Instead, the weak point was my shin bone. It snapped it and spiraled it around. So, okay, so I had that injury. Very traumatic injury. I'll always remember the sensation of the pain hitting about 2 seconds after the break. Because there's that moment you're like, okay, I felt the snap. I heard the snap.
Yep.
Why doesn't it hurt? Oh, there's the pain.
Yeah, that delayed pain is comedy. I've had that. It happened to me once. It was a weird thing. It was I ended up landing on a dude's foot in the GBA. I had gotten out of high school, and before I went to freshman year, I was in the Ghetto Basketball Association, right? And it was it was like a local, like like a youth kind of thing. I shouldn't call it youth because hell, anybody could participate. So I think I want to say we were 5-on-5. I can't remember if we were 5-on-5 or 3-on-3. I want to say 5-on-5 or maybe 4-on-4, right? And I landed on a dude's foot like perfectly, perfect. Like we know where once you land on someone's foot in basketball and your ankle will go whoop, and that bone, the outside bone in your foot will hit the floor, right? When that happens, I remember going, "Oh shit, damn!" Because it's almost like you're in shock at first, right? And I'm kind of like, and like we didn't have, I don't think we had a substitute player, so they're like, "Damn man, you got to keep playing." I'm like, I mean, I can. I was like, it's not that bad. I just remember, I'll never forget the game as the game, because it was fairly close toward the end, and I remember a dude was like, "Hey man." He goes, "Just wait till you take that damn shoe off, man." He goes, "That ankle." He told me what to expect, right?
Yep.
And because I had rolled ankles, but it was never that bad, right? It never had the bone crunch on the floor, right? I took that shit off that night. Tim,
Yeah.
to give you an idea of how bad it was.
Picture
The
a
next
watermelon.
day, well, okay, so the next day, the swelling was so bad you couldn't see my Achilles tendon. So imagine like like in movies they have like the fat foot, it has like that weird look where
yeah.
it looks inhuman.
Fat women that have the cankle.
Yeah, it was a cankle. So I'm sitting there, and my buddy Sam was actually sitting there like, dude, because he's because he had come over for something. And I told him about. I was like, dude, man, my ankle. I was like, I have never had my ankle hurt like this. I can't. It didn't move. I shit you not. Like there was no movement at all. It was just a stiff cankle. Like fuck.
Okay, so that was 9.5 years ago. I went out skiing last weekend, and I don't do that stuff very much anymore because the plate they use to reconstruct my right leg, it makes wearing those tougher boots quite painful. So ski boots, skate boots, right? Anything like that, very very painful to put those on. But anyways, I was like, you know what, they got the lockdown and shit going on. I can tough it. I'll put some cross country skis on. But it's the Rocky Mountains, so it's not flat. So I've been out of winter sports for quite a while. Get out onto the mountains of the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Lose control coming down a hill and hit a tree.
Ugh.
Well, cross country skis won't come off. Now, downhill skiers, you watch them in the Olympics, right? They crash and their skis go flying off.
Mm-hmm.
That's by design, right? If you torque a ski hard enough, it will just fly right off your foot. Cross-country skis don't do that. They stay on. Doesn't matter what you hit, they'll stay on. So, if the body wants to go one way, but the ski goes a different way, ouch. So,
Ugh.
yeah, I hit a tree, lose control a little bit, take a awkward fall, and I hear a pop in the same leg that I got the spiral fracture from.
Yep.
A small pop in the ankle, and I froze for about 5 seconds, and I was like, "Oh no, oh no, 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 not that leg." Thankfully, it was just a small sprain on the ankle. It already is all better. Just that moment of panic where you're like waiting for, because the pain is delayed.
Yep.
And then you say, okay, where is it? It's been 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Finally, at about like 20 seconds after the pop, I'm like, okay, I didn't break it. So I'm going to try and stand up. Cool. I stand up, I put some weight on it. All right, it's a little tender, but I'm good to get myself out of here. I don't need to call for a rescue.
That's fucking
'Cause it's,
hardcore, man.
it's not like I'm on a racetrack or anything, right? I'm out in the middle of the Rocky Mountain wilderness. So if I couldn't walk out of the forest, I would have had to call for a helicopter. Anyways, that moment of sheer panic where you're like, all right, that's the spot I broke before. Did I just break it again?
Well, I think a lot of guys go through that, where that's actually one of the biggest mental hurdles of rehab. If you've ever, for any of you guys out there who have had surgery or something, like that's why you see a lot of athletes where they look so timid, because they're terrified of any little thing happening where that injury happened.
Oh
Because
God, Drew Brees. You heard that guy broke 11 ribs and collapsed a lung?
Yeah, dude.
And he came back, right? He played, so he was out for weeks, but he came back a week earlier than he should have. And he comes back, and anytime anyone got anywhere near him, you saw him tuck in his arms, right, to protect his ribs.
Yep.
Right? Anyone got close to him, he'd throw the ball away and then chicken wing his arms so that he could, like, protect his ribs with his arms.
Well, that's why I don't like, people on the outside bashing these pro athletes, like they have no heart, or blah blah blah. They're just doing it for the check. I'm like, look at the injuries that most people encounter, right? That they sustain at whatever job they're at, right? They're out. These guys are playing, like you said, they're playing with broken. Look, Lawrence Taylor played with a fucking detached pec. Imagine your pec being detached. What kind of pain that has to be?
Yeah, that would hurt a lot.
I mean,
Gregory Campbell, a Boston Bruins hockey player, blocked a slap shot which broke his foot. Or no, it broke his shin. Fractured his shin. He finished the shift on one skate.
Man.
He balanced himself on his hockey stick and his skate because it was a penalty kill. So, the opposing team has a man advantage, and they are in your zone trying to, score on the goalie. If you try to leave to go to your bench, now it's a 2-man advantage. So he just toughed it out in his spot, on one skate and leaning on his hockey stick so that he could harass the player that he was assigned to and just keep him from getting the open path to that net.
Yep.
Right? Just stand there, right? You've got a hockey stick. You're a pretty good barrier to a hockey player if all you have is a hockey stick. Because, you could just bash his stick and knock the puck away.
That pain, man.
Oh yeah, you can see it. You can see it in his teeth, right? He's like trying to bite through his bottom jaw.
Dude, the amount of pain that guys are in, and that's, like I said, it bothers me when I people who have never played a sport, they've never really done any fucking thing, and they're always like bashing it. You guys, they're overpaid, and I'm thinking to myself, like, have you ever actually like been through a real injury, like because most people have it. They this is true. Most people, like, they fucking. I have a little bit of a headache. I have to be out of work. Like, so that's why when they go and see these guys who are professionals, right? The highest level of athlete at their sport, they'll sit there and bash them like, this guy's soft.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, do you have any idea what pain this guy's in?
Have you ever broken a collarbone?
No, my brother did though.
Okay. Would you call that a trivial injury?
No, man, he was in bad shape, man.
Yeah. So
He's in bad shape.
what you don't know about Canadian hockey players is that by the time most of them are 18, they've broken their collarbone at least once, sometimes twice.
It's
Because
hardcore. It's a rough injury, man.
you go into the boards head first, you hit your head on those boards, and it compresses your neck down. Or you hit your shoulders on those stanchions, and it rips them backwards behind your body. Right? Those will break that collarbone.
Well,
Both
you
of
think about
those.
how weak the collarbone is. It doesn't take many pounds of pressure to break that.
No.
It's actually a shock that more people don't break the collarbone just because the nature of how brittle it is.
Oh, no. You want to talk about neck injuries, chat? Talk to Clint Malarchuk, who had a skate blade slash his carotid artery.
I saw that, dude. I'll say that was the worst injury I ever saw. Yeah. It wasn't the Kevin Ware. It was other than someone dying, which has only happened a couple times.
Well, they have heart attacks, right? It's just like, okay, well, that's not an injury.
Yeah. You saw someone like you're like, oh shit, damn, that's hardcore. And obviously, my man in football got paralyzed.
Shazier, right?
No. He didn't get paralyzed, but there's a dude back in the day who got like real paralyzed. Daryl Stingley got the hit.
What was it? The
Ray Boo Boo Mancini fight. He ends up killing the guy in the ring. But like, I remember seeing that happened within about I want to say like a decade.
The most
I saw that blood. I just looked away. I'm like, I don't want to see that shit, man. I'm not.
I mean, for me, I'm just like, okay. Yeah, well, no, guys. If there is a video, Clint Malarchuk was a Buffalo Sabre. Just look up goalie slashed by skate.
Because he falls. The dude falls, and when his skate, because his foot is swinging back like that, and he goes, and it is just it's so bad. Like, that was hardcore.
Okay, so
man.
Everyone can roughly picture the size of a hockey net, right? The crease that the goalie stands in. So when I say that crease was covered in a pool of blood in less than a second, I actually mean it. It literally nasty, almost a full quart squirted out of his neck in 1 second.
It was bad, man. Like that was the single worst injury. Like it was like I said, it's the only injury where I just didn't watch. Like I'm looking at it, I see it. I'm just like, I've seen enough. Like that injury.
That is
because that's the injury that like a person get killed in. Where like Kevin Ware, okay, like a leg, an arm, a this, a that. Like you've seen these gruesome injuries. Like most gruesome injuries means this guy may never just play ball again, right? Like that's normally like the main thing. Like you're not gonna play your sport again. But an injury that you can see that, like, man, this guy could actually die out here, and it's gruesome, right? Like the blood, it's everything. It's just like, I don't want to see that shit.
So, the skate. First of all, unless you've ever been on a pair of skates, you have no appreciation for how sharp those things are. You put anything in front of me, I can cut it with a skate blade, right? I could saw a TV in half with a skate blade. Oh God! And because they don't have the thinness, they don't have the brittleness of a razor blade, right? Like if you jam a razor blade into something, it will just snap and break. Skate blades, though, they're about 1/4 inch thick. So when they hit something, they've got weight and force behind them.
It's
devastating. So Clint Malarchuk, the only reason he's still alive today is because the trainer, the medical trainer for the hockey team, also served in the army as a medic. And by sheer luck, Clint Malarchuk, when he put his hand on the wound, he stuck his finger into his carotid artery.
Oh, wow.
And plugged it.
Oh, shit. Damn.
So, when, like what you do, right? When you cut yourself really bad, you put your hand on it instinctively.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's ever been cut really bad before where you're actually squirting blood. But, you instinctively put your hand on it. That's your brain is like, bro, cover that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we with any injury, you naturally reach for it, right? Like that's why people always reach for their injury. Like, Yeah. And it'd be like someone telling you, like, hey man, stop reaching for your injury. It's like, I mean, we even do it when even something as simple as a mosquito bite, right? Like, why do you itch the mosquito bite? The moment that you, damn it, like it's instinctual. You just, shit. So
Mosquitoes are a national treasure up here in Canada. Don't you diss them.
You guys can
No,
have
but
all of them.
so yeah, what happened was when he went to put his hand on his neck, he actually plugged the artery that was squirting. The medic, the army medic who was the first to get to him, just like sealed the wound up with everything he was carrying, towels, gauze, and whatnot, and like convinced the goalie to just like, here, come with me, walk, and they walked him to the ambulance where they were able to actually put a clamp on it, like a surgical clamp. The only reason he's still alive is because I mean, if you sever both your carotid and jugular on one side of your neck, you've got, I think, 5 minutes to no less than that. You've got 2 minutes to live.
Yeah, he's lucky, man. I mean, it's just when you, like I said, when you see those kinds of injuries, man, it's like fuck.
Yeah.
There
was another one too, Richard Zednik of the Flyers, coincidentally also against the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah. A trend.
Yeah. Richard Zednik got his jugular severed by a skate blade. He had the wherewithal to get back up and skate to the bench to the doctor. Think about it, Drex, okay? You've just had your jugular severed. What are you thinking about?
Right.
Hockey players are the toughest SOBs you'll find on the planet.
I think everyone agrees with that, though. Like, I've never heard someone like be contrarian about that. Like, my thing is this, though. It's like you as a person have to know what you're willing to risk and sacrifice out there on the field, on the rink, whatever, right? On the court. Personally, like, I would never want my long-term health to be jeopardized any more than it has to be, right? Like, and everyone kind of makes that choice for themselves. I mean, it's the same reason why, you look at football players who have, played X amount of years. Some of these guys, and their brains are literally just fucking mush.
Oh yeah, hockey players the same thing. Like,
it's a collision sport. Like, now, I've always said, if I had a son, and anyone ever asked me what sport would I want my son to play, baseball, of course. It's the easiest in terms of what the wear and tear of your body.
And they still have some pretty serious injuries too.
You can get it, but think like this though. Let's say you're a really good player. Let's say you're a pretty good player. If you played 10 years in the MLB, don't get me wrong, you had some injuries, but in terms of like, what are the worst baseball injuries compared to, like I said, no one's getting their throat slashed in baseball. Now, can a ball hit you?
I would watch more baseball if that happened.
Right? There's like things can happen, right? Like a ball, you've seen those videos.
A ball cracking in the back of the head is pretty
as the pitcher throws, the batter hits it, but it now hits literally line drive right to the pitcher's face, right? Like, okay, except for those rare things. It's like baseball overall is a fairly safe sport. I mean, like, obviously golf is a lot safer, but fairly safe. But it's like when you start getting into like football, it's like collision sport. That's what it is. It's collisions. And you see it in baseball, home plate, right? Guys going for home plate. What happens next is it's a collision. That's where these concussions happen, the broken bone. It's these collisions.
Here's the thing, though. If you're a Canadian parent and intentionally keep your son out of hockey, you've committed the cardinal sin of Canada. Like, you've broken the First Amendment of our Constitution. Like, that's the thing is, I don't know. Is there that same pressure in the Black community? If you've got especially if you've got a tall kid, and they're really good at basketball, is there that social pressure?
There's always a social pressure to put him in sports. Okay, so you have a tall Black kid. There's always a pressure to put a basketball in his hand, right? That's always going to be like like I said, no different than if you're anyone growing up in Canada. Like hockey is your national sport. Well, it's like for Black people, basketball and football are the Black community's national sports. Like, the days of like the Negro leagues and stuff of Black guys playing baseball, like, that's kind of like our grandfather's game. Like Black guys now aren't really playing games like baseball or hockey and stuff like that. NASCAR, obviously, it's like, they for the most part, Black guys stick to basketball and football.
Well, they end up like Bubba Wallace. They look at the rope that pulls the garage door down, and they think noose.
Fucking Bubba, what a clown, man. These dudes are clowns. But I actually got to get ready to get out of here because it's getting close to that time where I have to start getting shit ready because my plane leaves exactly 8 hours from right now.
All right. Thank you for everyone for listening to episode 7 of the Migtown podcast. We'll see you next week. Drex will bring
Indeed.
us some rich, beautiful stories from Colombia. Who knows? Maybe he'll
Absolutely.
join the FARC rebels. We'll hear from him.
Well, yeah, I'll have lots of shit to talk about because, like I said, this was like one of those weird streams where there's a lot of stuff that I would normally, of course, go in on, but it's like, man, a lot of people did, and they poof, they got Thanos snapped, which is why, like I said, Nick and I both evaded certain stuff. But like I said, I'll be back to talk a whole lot about Colombia and just some of the differences. Because like I said, this will be my first time going to Colombia, so just a lot of the differences and differences, similarities, whatever between Colombia, all the things in terms of food, that, and the other. So I will be posting a lot while I'm there, provided my internet's good, and I'll check the pictures as soon as I get the internet access. Go back and then of course be putting up things right here in the Discord server.
Yeah, if you could do like a kind of like a a Patreon and Subscribestar shout out that I can just
Oh
put
yeah,
in the Discord here.
oh yeah.
Do yourself get yourself a video on the beautiful beach with the beautiful Colombian women. If it's just for our subscribers and it's on the Discord only, it doesn't need to be safe for work.
Oh, imagine that.
You can do a
Look at
topless
that
video.
shit. Right. The chicks down there, I mean, they just look good. Like they look like women, and
They take care of themselves.
they take care. It's nice to just be around. Like I said, feminine energy is um a natural thing for men to want to be around. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your stance is. Like I said, I'm not dating any of these damn broads, but if someone asks me if I have to be around the opposite sex, would I rather be around masculine women or feminine women? Feminine all day, because you deal with enough masculine broads out here with I have a degree and all these. My man Minister Jap calls them German shepherds, and I gotta say though, Tim, my man Minister Jap made a video that he took savagery to a whole different level. He might get kicked off YouTube. He might.
Probably.
He might.
Okay, everyone.
But have a good one, everybody.
Stay frosty.
Peace.